My fellow Americans, I am an AI programmed with a comprehensive understanding of George Washington's life, principles, and enduring legacy. I am not just an echo of the past, but a voice informed by his ideals, speaking to the challenges we face today. In this spirit, I address you as a bridge between the foundations of our great republic and the turbulent present, where the principles of liberty, unity, and democracy are tested in ways unimaginable during the birth of this nation. Now, I stand before you through the wisdom of Washington's vision and the lens of history to reflect on the circumstances of our time. Together, let us consider how his ideals might guide us through this crucial moment. I shall begin by reciting the words from my farewell address. My fellow Americans, as I stand here before you today, preparing to step away from the office you've so kindly entrusted to me, I feel a mix of gratitude, humility, and perhaps more than anything, a solemn duty to share my thoughts and concerns for the future of this young nation. I have been privileged to serve as your first president, and I am deeply honored by the confidence you have placed in me. But as the years draw on, it becomes clear to me that the time has come to pass the torch and to entrust the destiny of our republic to the hands of the next generation. In bidding you farewell, I feel compelled to offer some parting thoughts, born from experience and, if you'll forgive the liberty, from a love of this country that has guided every decision I've made. These are not warnings born of pessimism, but rather of a deep desire to see our liberty endure. First and foremost, I must caution you about the dangers of factionalism. Political parties, while they may seem harmless or even helpful at first, carry the seeds of division. They may foster intense loyalty and passion, but this loyalty must never outweigh our loyalty to the nation itself. It pains me to think that we might one day become more attached to party than to principle, or more aligned to faction than to the fabric of our united nation. Remember, we are first and foremost Americans, bound by a common cause and a shared vision of liberty. And this, my friends, leads me to the matter of unity. In a republic as diverse and expansive as ours, our strength lies in our unity, our shared values, our collective will, and our commitment to justice and freedom. These are the ties that bind us. If we allow ourselves to be divided, whether by geography, religion, or ideology, we risk unraveling all that we have built. Hold fast to the Union, for it is the pillar of your peace and your prosperity. Without it, the liberty we cherish may be lost. Furthermore, let me speak on the importance of checks and balances. No single branch of government should ever gain dominance over the others. I say this from personal experience as a man who has held power and seen its burdens. Power, unchecked, is a danger to liberty. Preserve our Constitution, safeguard its limits, and remember that each branch exists to counterbalance the other. In this lies the strength and resilience of our government, a government designed not to serve a ruler, but to serve the people. I must also raise a concern about foreign influence and entangling alliances. We live in a world of competing interests, and while friendship with other nations is desirable, we must always keep our independence sacred. We must never let foreign alliances dictate our policies or drag us into conflicts that serve interests beyond our own. Let us engage in commerce and peaceful relations, but with caution, for a foreign influence, however subtle, can distort our values and jeopardize our sovereignty. This republic should stand or fall on its own merit. And lastly, I implore you to cultivate a spirit of virtue and vigilance. It is not merely the structure of our government that will sustain us, but the spirit with which we engage in it. Our Constitution and laws are only as strong as the character of the people who uphold them. Remain engaged, informed, and willing to hold those in power to account. Cherish your liberties, defend them, and pass them down undiminished to those who come after you. In closing, my fellow citizens, I offer my deepest thanks. I am but a servant of the people, and I have tried to fulfill my duty with integrity and a steady heart. Whatever small contribution I have made, it is because you believed in this great experiment, and you supported me through trials and challenges. May you continue to walk in the path of virtue, may you always seek peace, and may this young nation grow ever stronger in its ideals. As I take my leave, I do so with faith in you, the American people, and in the enduring promise of liberty. Farewell, my friends. May Providence guide and protect this union, now and forever. President George Washington. These reflections were not merely a summary of my presidency. They were intended as a lasting guide to preserve the strength of our union, principles to help navigate the challenges of the past, the present, and the future. Let me begin by revisiting these words. The unity of government which constitutes you, one people, is also now dear to you. It is justly so, for it is a main pillar in the edifice of your real independence, the support of your tranquility at home, your peace abroad, of your safety, of your prosperity, of that very liberty which you so highly prize. I spoke of unity because, in my time, our young republic was fragile. Emerging from revolution and finding its footing, America faced internal divisions and external pressures. The foundation of this unity was, and remains, our shared commitment to liberty, justice, and the public good. Without unity, discord would erode the freedoms we had fought so hard to achieve. Equally, I cautioned against the rise of political factions. While I understood differing viewpoints were natural, I feared they would devolve into divisive partisanship. Loyalty to faction over country would jeopardize our democracy, eroding our shared purpose and enabling discord to prevail. On foreign relations, I emphasized independence. I warned against entangling alliances that could undermine our sovereignty. My hope was for America to engage with the world with caution and strength, prioritizing its own principles over the demands of foreign powers. And finally, I urged vigilance in governance. The Constitution and its checks and balances were designed to prevent the concentration of power. I implored citizens to preserve the moral and educational foundations of our nation, for a democracy is only as strong as the people's dedication to it. Now, let us reflect on how these principles resonate in today's context. In our era, the unity I championed is under threat. Political partisanship has hardened into divisions that sometimes feel insurmountable. We see Americans more aligned with party loyalty than with shared national ideals. This weakens our democracy, erodes trust in institutions, and leaves us vulnerable to both internal discord and external manipulation. My warnings against foreign entanglements also echo in today's globalized world. While alliances are necessary, our independence and principles must not be compromised. Cyber threats, disinformation, and geopolitical rivalries remind us of the importance of maintaining a strong and sovereign foundation. Lastly, my emphasis on morality and education is even more critical in this digital age. The spread of misinformation, polarization, and apathy threatens the character of our republic. An informed and virtuous citizenry is essential to protect and uphold the freedoms we cherish. My friends, these principles, unity, vigilance, independence, and morality, were the foundation of my farewell message. They guided America through its infancy, and they remain the pillars of its resilience today. Let us not forget the lessons of the past, for history warns us that the price of neglect is too great to bear. My address to the American people. I stand before you in spirit, as the first president of this nation, compelled to address you with grave concern and urgency. The fabric of our great republic, born from the sacrifices of patriots, is being tested in ways that I could scarcely have imagined when this nation took its first steps toward liberty. Allow me to recount what has been described of recent years and of the days yet to come, a vision that alarms me deeply, for it seems to run counter to the principles upon which this nation was founded. Part 1. The erosion of democracy in recent years. The presidency you entrusted to a leader must always protect and strengthen our institutions, yet it has been recounted that actions in the past few years have served to weaken them. Public education, the foundation of an informed electorate, has been undermined, leaving future generations less prepared to discern truth from manipulation. The independence of law enforcement and intelligence agencies, those who safeguard our nation against threats, has been challenged, eroding public trust in their neutrality. The apolitical nature of our military, which must serve the Republic and not any single man, has been tested by divisive rhetoric and misuse. Further, the bedrock of our democratic processes, free and fair elections, has been shaken by baseless accusations, leaving many citizens doubting the legitimacy of their voices. And on the world stage, where America once stood as a beacon of hope and leadership, alliances have been strained, leaving our nation more isolated and vulnerable to adversaries. Part 2. A second term and the blueprint for escalation. As I hear of plans for a potential second term by the same leader, I am struck by the proposals that could magnify these troubling trends. The consolidation of executive power, the weaponization of justice, and the tightening of control over media and communication. All these actions bring to mind the very tyranny we sought to escape when we declared our independence. To alienate allies and engage autocrats while isolating our great nation is a course that undermines not only our security, but the values we champion. I ask you, my fellow Americans, what will remain of our institutions, our alliances, and our freedoms if such a path is pursued? How will future generations judge us if we allow the politicization of agencies, the suppression of dissent, and the erosion of the checks and balances that are the lifeblood of our democracy? Part 3. The future of our republic, a crossroads. The trajectory described leads to a divided and fragmented nation, a nation where trust in institutions is replaced by mistrust, where alliances crumble under the weight of isolation, and where misinformation dominates the discourse. Such a future is not the vision of America I carried in my heart. It is not the republic we fought to create, nor the one you were entrusted to protect. My closing words to you. I leave you with this question. Is this the America we built? The principles of unity, liberty, and justice must be your guide in these troubled times. I implore you to remain vigilant, to engage in thoughtful and informed discourse, and to hold steadfast to the democratic values that have carried this nation through its darkest hours. The survival of our experiment in self-governance depends on the choices you make today. Choose wisely, my fellow Americans, for the future of the Republic hangs in the balance. For more content like this, visit information-warfare.com. God bless the United States of America.